Hey everyone, I'm going to be ranking all Beatles songs. Obviously this is my opinion, but they're my favorite band. I've listened to them my whole life. So let's get right into it. Now this first part is my list of my least favorite Beatles songs. These are the ones that I'm just not crazy about, I can pretty much do without. And I pretty much just ranked them chronologically. These are the songs that I have no problem just skipping over when I listen to Beatles music. We'll start off with Not a Second Time and I'll Be Back. I mean, they're very similar. They're just kind of blah, and they're kind of a little bit on the sad side, just kind of a minor key thing. Just not wonderful, not fun to listen to. I Call Your Name. John was a great songwriter, a great singer, but this song just doesn't really have the it factor. The cowbell is cool, but that's about it. Matchbox, it's fast, it's jaunty, but it's just pretty boring. By the way, fun fact, only Ringo and George sang the Carl Perkins written Beatles songs. John and Paul did not sing any Carl Perkins songs. Think for Yourself, You Like Me Too Much. They're just a couple of mid-60s George songs that are just fine, whatever, boring. Wait, decent. If I Needed Someone, blah. Within You Without You, just one of the George Indian flavored songs. Pretty boring to me. Most of these aren't really bad songs, they're just boring songs. Here, There, and Everywhere, probably the sappiest song Paul ever wrote. It's just slow, touchy-feely love, vomit-inducing. The White Album is a cool experience for what it is, but that also comes with some songs not being the best. Julia, it's okay, kind of boring though. Long, 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 slow, boring. Revolution 1, a very sad copy of the great regular electric version, Revolution. Revolution 9, it's artistic, but come on. I mean, how often do you really want to hear this? Good Night, extremely boring. Ringo just doing whatever. Golden Slumber's not quite as cheesy as Here, There, and Everywhere, but still kind of cringy, just too much, It's pretty obvious that George was not the songwriter that John and Paul were. I Me Mine, blah. Long and Winding Road, just really, really overly just emotional and dramatic and everything. I will say it is better on the original, the Let It Be Naked version. Before Phil Spector got his hands on it, it is much better without all those strings on it, I will say that. All right, here's my next group, my next 49 songs. Still not numbering yet, but it is gonna be chronological. These are not my least favorite Beatles songs. These are the ones I like at least a little bit. Better than the other list, but still not the greatest. Sleep Ditch and Come Gimme Dinah Han, they're obviously just the German language versions of She Loves You and I Wanna Hold Your Hand for their German audience. So, you hear them once or twice and you're good. You go back to the originals, the hits. Slow Down, decent, fun, jaunty, not wonderful. Boys I always thought was a little strange because it was sang by a girl group and they're talking about how much they love boys. Yay, boys, we love boys. And then they get Ringo to sing it with the others backing him up. They switch it up for the verses. My girl says when I kiss her lips, all that. But they still say boys in the chorus. So it's a little strange in that regard. P.S. I Love You, it's fine. Blah, one of their early efforts. Baby It's You, kind of a cool song, decent. The Smith version might be a little better. A Taste of Honey, fine. I'd probably rather hear the instrumental version by Herb Alpert, I believe that is. And even, I'd probably rather hear Alan Sherman's version, to be honest. A Waste of Money, pretty funny song. Don't Bother Me, decent song by George, not my favorite. If I Fell is a cool song. It's got, it's got the nice little love vibe and everything. It's kind of cool. I Want to Be Your Man is a fun song. Not a whole lot of lyrics in that song though. Lots of repetition with the lyrics going on there. They say I want to be your man like 9,000 times. Things We Said Today. It's kind of like the Don't Bother Me, Not a Second Time, I'll Be Back. They have that kind of minor key thing. It's just not as exciting to me. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But Things We Said Today is a decent song. It's okay. Not my favorite. Now remember, this is a second grouping, so I do like a lot of these songs in this second grouping. So they're just not my favorites. When I Get Home, good song, decent song, it's kind of cool. Kansas City, Hey Hey, fun song. Honey Don't, kind of a fun song. The words are just kind of blah, but it's kind of cool. What Goes On, kind of cool, kind of fun, a little bit boring. Trust me, starting with the third section, I'm not going to be saying all this blah 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 stuff because I'm getting all that out of the way the first two sections. Run for Your Life, pretty cool, fun song. I'm Only Sleeping, decent pre-psychedelic John song. I think that's Nancy Wilson's favorite guitar solo, by the way, the whole backwards thing going on. It's kind of cool. Love You Too, again, one of George's Indian flavored songs. It's decent. I Want to Tell You, again, decent. Tomorrow Never Knows, again, pre-psychedelic. A little bit on the boring side, but decent. Rain, I do like Rain. The bulk of the song is just kind of blah. The best part of that song by far is Paul's bass line. He does awesome bass stuff in there. I love it at the end when Paul's bass and Ringo's drums, they kind of go together, just a boom, 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 boom. That part's really cool. Fixing a Hole, decent. I always kind of compare that one with Getting Better, and to me, Getting Better is kind of like Fixing a Hole. They're just little pop Paul songs on Sgt. Pepper, but Getting Better is a way better song than Fixing a Hole. There's not much of a reason to listen to the Sgt. Pepper reprise on its own because it's just a copy of the first song, just not as good. Full on the Hill is kind of nice, I will say that. It's just kind of just a nice little mellow song, just kind of just letting it flow. Flying is nice. It's not content thick, but it does have some cool, nice, relaxing vibes. The guitar part in the middle is kind of cool. Blue Jay Way, again, one of George's Indian songs. It's okay. All You Need Is Love. It's okay. It's decent. It's flower power. Love everyone. It's okay. On to the White Album. Wild Honey Pie. Throwaway song. Kind of fun to hear. Rocky Raccoon. I kind of like. It's not a masterpiece, but it's kind of a cool song. Why Don't We Do It on the Road? Paul, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? I Will is a good love song. It's just, you know, whatever. The Inner Light does have a cool vibe to it. Probably a little more interesting than some of the other George Indian flavored songs. Honey Pie has a pretty cool vibe. It has that, you know, Paul liked doing that old 20s, 30s type thing going. So kind of a cool song. And probably the most shocking thing in this entire Beatles list that I'm making is in this category I've also included While My Guitar Gently Weeps. In my opinion, this is the #1 most overrated Beatles song. I know it's popular by a lot of people's admission, probably top 10 on a lot of people's list. I like what I like. To me, the song is boring. It's not a bad song, it's just a boring song. And by far the best part of the song is Eric Clapton's guitar work. Just the words, the melody, it's just slow. I don't know why everybody likes this song so much. To me, it's, I mean, maybe because it has this big feel. I don't know. But to me, it's boring. All Together Now, fun song. Sounds like it was written for kids, but it's fun. Not deep, not a masterpiece, but fun. Only a Northern Song and It's All Too Much sound like George was just in the same vibe and wrote both of those songs in the same afternoon. They just have the same vibe and they're both decent, but they're just both psychedelic songs that sound very similar and they probably get mixed up in my head. Ballad of John and Yoko, it's okay. Fun fact, John and Paul are the only Beatles playing on this song. On to Abbey Road, Octopus's Garden. It's imaginative, but it's kind of boring. Carry That Weight, kind of boring. The end is cool. I mean, it's fast, it's rousing. The guitar solos in the middle by John, Paul, and George are all pretty cool. It's okay. What are you gonna say about Her Majesty? And it lasts for like 20 seconds. I think this was probably Paul not wanting some, strangely enough, because he's sappy on a lot of songs, but I don't think he wanted the ending of the last Beatles album that was recorded to be quite that sappy and everything. So that's probably why he added on Her Majesty at the end, which is kind of a cool touch. It just has a little light moment at the end of it. Kind of like Joni Mitchell's laugh at the end of Big Yellow Taxi. Across the Universe, overly serious. Dig It, throwaway song like Wild Honey Pie. I think Maggie May was an old bar song that was thrown onto the Let It Be album. It's decent. Fun fact, that was the last song recorded by the Beatles that they did not write. For You Blue, just another pretty boring George song. It's okay, it's okay. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. I will say this is probably my vote for the funniest Beatles song, especially the anthology version. But the song itself is just a kind of just a random mix of different versions of it, which is telling someone a very insulting thing. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. I'm not gonna tell it to you. All right, on to part 3. Good songs, but they're missing that emotional connection. They're missing some magic. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. These will also be somewhat chronologically. Chains, cool song, fun to sing. Ask Me Why, decent early Beatles song. Little Child, fun early Beatles song. Till There Was You is very nice. Obviously, for a lot of people, the mind goes to the second song they performed on Ed Sullivan that night, where they show their names and John, sorry girls, he's married. And that really cool George Harrison guitar solo in the middle. That's a really nice solo. Please Mr. Postman, very cool song. Money is very fun, very raucous, very moving. Kind of the anti-love song. I don't want love, I want money. Happy Just to Dance With You, one of my more favorite George songs, pretty cool song. And I Love Her, that is one of my more favorite slow Paul songs. It's got a nice vibe with the claves and everything. It almost has like a Mexican vibe with the claves, and just that's the way it feels a little bit. Just nighttime out in the desert. Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. If I was writing it, I probably would have tweaked the words a little bit. Still a pretty fun song. George has some cool Carl Perkins inspired guitar work on that. The Word, one of those songs in the mid-60s, just, you know, kind of cool. Not my favorite, kind of cool. Back in the USSR, nice, fun, rocking song. Martha My Dear has that really nice classical vibe with the strings. It's got a really cool melody, just a nice little pop song. Mother Nature's Son, similar vibe to Martha My Dear. Has kind of that soft feel to it, just kind of a cool melody, White Album. Cry Baby Cry, decent song, kind of a cool melody. It's okay. All right, section 4. This is where I'm going to start ranking them, each one individually numbered, going all the way down to number 1. Coming in at number 131, we have Yes It Is. Really nice John love song. It's got the volume pedal, or the volume knob, however they're doing it, with the swelling in of the guitar like that. Very cool effect. And very soulful vocals by John there. 130, Yellow Submarine. One of the catchiest songs ever. It's one of those songs that it's gonna get stuck in your head. That's the big draw of the song there. John's got the funny little things in the middle. 129, With a Little Help from My Friends. This is the original, but I'd probably rather listen to the Joe Cocker version. It's just a little more exciting. 128, Your Mother Should Know. Again, one of those Paul early type songs like Honey Pie. Sounds like it's from the 20s. It's got a really cool vibe. It's got a cool melody. Just a fun little song on the Magical Mystery Tour album. 127, Lady Madonna. Nice pop song. Got a good beat, kind of fast. Got good rhyming, got good melody. Paul doing what Paul does. Thank You Girl. We're getting to that area where we just have good pop songs. The words, the melody are just written very nice together. They seamlessly flow into each other. Everything is done perfectly. It's just one of those really good Beatles songs. Hold Me Tight. I love Hold Me Tight from the With the Beatles album. Fast song, love song. Got a little bit of emotion worked into it, but overall it's just a nice, happy, fast song. How can you not love Bad Boy? John giving the raucous vocals there. Talking about all the crazy bad stuff that this kid is doing. He's just a bad little boy, but he loves the rock and roll music. It's just a fun song. George giving the really nice guitar all the way through it. And at 122, Tell Me What You See. Just a nice mid-60s Beatles pop song. Some may rank it lower. I think it's a good song. Sun King. This is near the beginning of that big long medley on the second half of the Abbey Road album. Very nice, relaxing song. Just kind of chill. Got some Spanish going on, got some nice sixth chords. Very chill, cool song in that medley before some of the more raucous stuff happens later. It's Only Love, very nice song on the Help Parlophone album. John just writing a very nice love song. Fun to sing, fun to listen to. Next up, Tell Me Why and I'll Cry Instead. Two cool songs from the Hard Day's Night soundtrack. Tell Me Why is at the end of the movie where they're on the stage. I'll Cry Instead. The video that I have when I was a kid, there's just a bunch of pictures, like a big collage put together, montage put together while that song plays. Both very cool songs. I'll Follow the Sun, a very nice song by Paul on the Beatles For Sale album. It's just one of those very nice, pleasant, softer songs. Just a very almost natural vibe to that song. Just a very nice song to listen to. Glass Onion, one of John's songs from the White Album. Obviously, John did a lot of nonsensical lyrics throughout his career. This one is no exception. Some of it makes a little sense, but as with a lot of John's songs, a lot of it is just completely made up, made to sound cool perhaps. You see that a lot with I Am the Walrus and Come Together and things like that. The continuing story of Bungalow Bill. This one almost has like you're reading like a children's story to kids, like a superhero type vibe to it. The verses and the chorus are very different from each other, so that adds a cool vibe. Do you want to know a secret? One of my favorite George songs from early on in the Beatles discography. Just nice to listen to, fun to sing. There's a Place. It's one of those kind of songs where it's faster, but it's also very emotional. And Devil in Her Heart, another one of my favorite George songs. A lot of those early Beatles songs just have very, very good pop vibes to it, with the backup vocals and just a good, strict pop quality and genius there. Sexy Sadie from the White Album. That was John talking about the Maharishi that they studied with in India. And obviously he was not all that he claimed he said he was. It's sort of got a haunting vibe. Something about that piano with the echo on it just has a very haunting vibe to me. And the backup vocals later on are very cool to listen to. Act Naturally. This might be the only straight up country song the Beatles covered. That was a Buck Williams song Ringo sang. Very fun to listen to with Ringo singing. You're a Blues, obviously one of the Beatles' bluesier songs, one of the more hard rock type songs that they did. John just churning out the vocals, really good guitar work on it. And obviously the mind goes to the Dirty Mac supergroup from the Rolling Stones Circus, where John did this with Eric Clapton, Keith Richards, and Mitch Mitchell, I believe. I've always liked Dr. Robert, just a fun song to sing, fun song to listen to. I think it's actually about a drug dealer. For No One, very nice, slow song. I love the solo in the middle, which, is that a French horn, perhaps? I love that solo. I learned it on the keyboard when I was younger. I can still play it. Very cool solo in the middle. She Said, very fun John song from the mid-60s. Once again, starting to get into that psychedelic area a little bit, but not totally yet. And I believe it was written based on a conversation John had with Peter Fonda, I want to say. Dick a Pony. Obviously, the production value on the Let It Be album is not quite as high as the other albums, but Dick a Pony is a really cool song. It's got a really cool guitar riff, just John shredding it out. Piggies. The White Album, just in general, has this silliness. There's just all kinds of things that the White Album sings about, you know, from USSR to a Blackbird to an Onion to Bungalow Bill to Rocky Raccoon to Piggies. It's just got all kind of cool stuff in it. And Piggies is obviously just one of those songs that just makes the White Album what it is, which is just this cool collection of all kinds of stuff going on there. And definitely one of the better George songs. Piggies, it's just got a cool vibe. Instrumentation is very interesting on it, how he mixes different instruments together. I love Savoy Truffle, great George song, just very cool vibe. Is this the only Beatles song about food? It might be. Girl, just a beautiful song by John. Just something about that song just has this very serious but haunting quality. Up to 101, 8 days a week. Obviously, there are 7 days a week, so if I love you 8 days a week, that's just, you know, this is how much I love you. I love you 25 hours a day. One of those type things. Just a great song, obviously. It was a huge hit, very singable. Every little thing is just a nice love song. And the Beatles just wrote so many of them. That's why I love those guys so much. They wrote so many good songs. You just generally don't skip over tracks. You know, I've already went over those, but as you can see here, the bulk of Beatles material, you don't skip over tracks. You just don't. How can you not like Birthday? That's one of the best, happiest, funnest Beatles songs. It's just so fun to sing. It's just, I mean, it could be for anybody. Anybody who has a birthday, this is like the other song you sing along with Happy Birthday. Great Rock and Paul song. I'll Get You. John and Paul sing in harmony, especially in the bridge later on in the song. It's just fun to sing this song. 97, Misery. It's always great whenever you have an extra instrument that is not part of the regular setup, guitar, bass, drums. And I love that piano part in the middle of the song. Dun, 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 dun. You Can't Do That. Great John song. Is it just me, or has anyone else ever noticed that every time they did a song live, one where John had the guitar solo in the middle, they hardly ever showed John playing a solo, that the camera is always somewhere else. And a lot of the footage I've seen of this song, they don't show John playing the solo. It's so annoying. Usually George played the solos, but John plays this one. I've Just Seen a Face. Obviously this is a folk, country-ish type song with the acoustic guitars. It obviously showed the Beatles' diversity and them wanting to just do as much as they possibly could, genre-wise, style-wise. Drive My Car, first song on the Rubber Soul album. Great song, fun song. Again, this is one of those songs that how can you not like? It's just a fun song about driving a car, fast, cool solo in the middle. Great song. Lovely Rita from Sgt. Pepper. Paul just had some really cool songs on the Pepper album, and Lovely Rita is one of those. And once again, psychedelia. Meter Maid. People don't talk about falling in love with meter maids, a girl who checks a parking meter. Obviously, this is psychedelic. This is Paul just going for just outside the box psychedelic thinking. So, Meter Maid. One After 909, the Beatles did this early in their career, and they brought it back for Let It Be. Great song. Maxwell's Silverhammer. If you're gonna write a lighthearted song about, I guess, murder, then I guess this would be it. But nobody thinks of this as a song about murder. It's just a, I guess you can call it fun song. It's just more silly than anything. But he's going around hitting people on the head with a hammer. So make of that what you will. From Me to You, just one of those classic early Beatles songs, great singable melody. 89, I'm a Loser, great John song on the Beatles for Sale album, really cool harmonica there. Number 88, Hey Jude. Obviously this is known for being just the 7-minute song, the na-na-nas over and over and over. That part of it is not really my favorite, just the actual song itself is what I like the most, just the first half of the song. It's a really good song. Love Me Do, that was their first hit. This was early on before the Beatles were as big as they were going to get. There's actually 3 different versions with 3 different drummers, Ringo, Pete Best, and Andy White, who was a session drummer. Penny Lane, a wonderful song by Paul there. Excellent, perfect piccolo trumpet solo in the middle. And yes, piccolo trumpet is a real thing. It's a smaller trumpet, and a lot of them have 4 valves. Good Day Sunshine is a nice pop song. It's not in your face. It's just something about it, just you can almost really feel that warm sunshine just beating down on you. Just something about that song just has a very warm feel to it. Good Morning, Good Morning. You can actually track every song John wrote for Sgt. Pepper to some outside source. Good Morning was based on a cornflakes commercial where the lady is singing, good morning, good morning. A few tempo changes in there, all the different animal sounds at the end. Pretty cool psychedelic stuff. Got to Get You Into My Life, wonderful pop song, all those horns and everything. It just feels like this big, huge jazz sound, big city sound. Possibly the longest title for a Beatles song. Everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey. Just rocking Beatles song, John singing, John with his crazy lyrics, really cool guitar work in this, just a fun, raucous song. The Sgt. Pepper opening track, great because it starts off, you know, you can hear the orchestra warming up and everything. There's applause during it. Just you can hear the audience just going for that live sound from inside the studio. Pretty cool there. Just very, very rocking song. Boom, 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 boom. It's got a really cool feel. All My Lovin', for a lot of people, this is known as the first song they did on the Ed Sullivan Show. You look at the video, just everybody in the audience is going absolutely bonkers. Please Please Me, one of their first hits, I think #1 in England. Just a huge song. You got the Please Please Me, you get the 2 meanings of the word please. You get those harmonies, especially in the verses, very Everly Brothers sounding. Just last night I said these words, holding still, while last night I said these words too. Sounds very, very Everly Brothers. Very cool. Babies in Black, just a great waltz. Oh dear, what can I do? Because it's in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because wonderful song on the Abbey Road album. It's got the synthesizer. If you can, find the version with just the vocals, because in a way, it's a lot better with just the vocals. There's beautiful harmonies in that. Baby You a Rich Man, one of the tracks off the Magical Mystery Tour album. I really love Paul's bass line, right in that second part of the chorus, where it's just the boom, 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 boom. It's just like, they're in the tonic, the 1, but he goes ahead and goes for that flat third, just to go ahead and start building it toward the 4, which is coming up in a second. Just a really cool sound there. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, a lot of people know this was based on a drawing done by John's son, Julian. John said, oh, that's a nice drawing. What's the name of it? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Bing! Light bulb in John's head, wrote a whole song about it, completely psychedelic with the crazy lyrics. Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, this came from a circus promotion poster John found in an antique shop. And if you look it up online, he's pretty much just taking what's happening at this event and putting it into a song with some artistry. You Won't See Me, definitely one of my favorite Paul album cuts. It's really cool how he just puts all the rests in and just separates the melody. When I call you up, you're lying lines, and he just separates stuff. It has a cool feel to it. This boy, Ringo's theme, just has those beautiful harmonies in the middle. Just a nice little lilting song. I'm not sure why it's called Ringo's theme. Maybe because it's playing, the instrumental version is playing during Hard Day's Night when Ringo's walking around during the movie just doing his random stuff. A Day in the Life, a lot of people would probably rank this higher. It's obviously very important as far as psychedelia goes and studio recording, getting all the instruments in there, the huge full orchestra, playing random notes, getting all to that big one note at the top, and then just bah. Great studio engineering there. Just, you know, Sgt. Pepper broke a lot of barriers in the music world, so obviously that's a big part of it. And John's lyrics from this came from the newspaper. The stuff he says in the song is actual articles in a newspaper. Revolution, the good version of Revolution, the single one, just raucous song, just a rock and roll beat going on. When I was a kid, we had a can opener in my house, and whenever you turned it on to open a can, it actually kind of sounded like the beginning of Revolution, just like rah, 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 rah. And I kind of thought that when I heard it. I was like, oh, that sounds like Revolution. I Want You, She's So Heavy, John's song from the Abbey Road album. Great song. It's one of those songs where obviously the lyrics are not the main part of it. There's very few lyrics in this song. It's all about just the delivery and the guitar riff, and he changes the style up a little bit. And that big long ending, just boom, 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 and just very, very dark and dreary sounding, just defeatist sounding, like, oh no, apocalypse. Don't Let Me Down. There's a few songs that just really make you think of that rooftop concert in Let It Be. Just this song just has that nice medium speed feel, and you just imagine the wind blowing in their hair as they're up there. It's just got a really cool vibe in this song. And Your Bird Can Sing, what a great Beatles song. Just such a positive, happy song. And that guitar work, that might be my favorite guitar work in a Beatles song. Just George doing all those harmonies and everything. There's a harmony everywhere. Like everywhere there's guitar, there's at least 2-part harmony going on. Really nice. It was also the theme song to the Beatles cartoon, which I loved watching when I was a kid. Helter Skelter, probably the heaviest, most hard rock Beatles song. Very, very hard and raucous. I heard that this was based on Paul wanting to compete with The Who was known for getting really loud and heavy and everything, and Paul wanted to show them that, hey, we can do that too. And a lot of you may know this was based on a ride at the fair, the Helter Skelter, where you like go around and you go all the way down to the bottom on a slide, and then you go back to the top, just like the song says. Hey Bulldog, really cool song. Again, it's one of those songs that it's not quite as well known as other Beatles songs, but I just love it. It's nice. It's got a really cool guitar solo in the middle. And John, just with those blue notes. If you're lonely, you can talk to me. I love those blue notes he does. Two of Us, a great medium speed acoustic song on the Let It Be album. Just a nice song to sing. No Reply, just the vibe of this song. Just the first track on Beatles for Sale starts with just the acapella for a few notes. It just kind of has this nice little mellow feel, contrasting with the louder parts. And the lyrics are obviously talking about cheating, and it's just, everything just goes together so well. It's just one of those songs where you're like, man, they were so ahead of their time. They were pretty much influencing everybody else just with songs like this. Just nobody else wrote stuff like this back then. What You're Doing, another one of those great pop songs. I mean, I love most of the Beatles songs, but just some just really push that button more than others. What You're Doing is just a really nice pop song, really nice to listen to. Number 59, You Really Got a Hold on Me. Originally done by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. It's one of those songs, it's just got so much emotion in it. Just the first line, I don't like you, but I love you. This guy, he loves this girl and she's treating him bad, but it's like, gosh, I just can't break away from you because I love you. It's just the lyrics, it's just so emotional. Number 58, Something. George became an excellent songwriter right around the time the Beatles broke up with Something and Here Comes the Sun. Just a beautiful love song, so nice. Really cool guitar solo in the middle too. Oh Darling, Abbey Road is definitely one of my favorite Beatles albums. It's such a great album. Paul delivering those great soulful vocals in the middle of the song. It almost has that 50s vibe, just the way it comes across. And it's just fun to sing, fun to listen to. Get Back, very fun song. It's just one of those songs that people just love to sing. People who don't even care that much about the Beatles, they like this song. It's just a fun song to sing and listen to. Hello Goodbye, great example of a psychedelic era song that still maintains that huge pop sensibility. You say goodbye, I say hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. All that kind of crazy stuff, but it's just goofy and it's quirky and it's fun to sing. Great hook. Paul was obviously a brilliant songwriter, delivering so many great hooks. Roll Over Beethoven, the Chuck Berry classic. Both versions are excellent, the Chuck Berry version and the Beatles version. It's more polished than the Chuck Berry version. Both are excellent in their own ways though. Mr. Moonlight from the Beatles For Sale album on Parlophone. The beginning is probably the best part of the song. I can't really do the intro because I'll sound ridiculous, but you know, Mr. Moonlight. But I'm not John. I don't have that soulful raspiness that he had in his voice. Just a nice medium speed pop song with soulful vocals. Rock and Roll Music, another Chuck Berry song. I mean, Chuck Berry is probably my favorite 50s artist, so it's great that the Beatles did his songs. John's vocals, you know, just shredding it out. Started playing rock and roll. You know, he knew how to shred the vocals for real. Just a great, fun, get the blood going song. Magical Mystery Tour, the title track of the album, and of course, the TV special. I know it was panned in the day, it was kind of a failure, but to me, it's got some cool parts, it's got some weird parts. There's definitely parts that I just skip past because they're just weird, but some parts of it are pretty cool. Great rocking song though, just that beat, bop, 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 and Paul just churning it out. The magical mystery tour is hoping to take you away. Tempo slows down at the end, pretty cool too. Come Together, another one of those songs that holds up really well today. Another one of John's crazy lyric songs. There's so many things. And he's talking about one guy in the song. Somebody's probably made it, just a drawing, a painting of the guy in the song and every single thing that, you know, the song talks about. Somehow you'd have to figure out some way to draw a walrus gumboot and toe jam football. So, but it's a cool song. It's been covered, I know, at least by Aerosmith and Michael Jackson. It's probably been covered by a lot of people. 49, 48, and 47 are Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, and She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. As you might know, those are three of the songs near the beginning of the big long Abbey Road medley on the second half of the Abbey Road album. I don't really differentiate those songs in my head as far as one being better than the other or whatever. It's just one big experience. To me, those three just all kind of really go together. They're all segued into each other really nicely. They're all like medium fast, and I just like them all. Mean Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam are both John songs. Polythene Pam is a rocker. Mean Mr. Mustard's a little more medium speed. She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, just classic Paul stuff. Just all three of them are very strange / interesting lyrics. Good stuff though. And then 46 through 40, as you might can tell, those are the 7 songs from the Beatles' second movie, Help. I don't really know that I want to pick apart these 7 songs and rank them or anything. Just like the 3 with Abbey Road, these 7 songs just go all together in my brain. They're just ingrained in my head because I watched that movie so much when I was a kid. That and Hard Day's Night I watched a ton, but Help obviously has a different vibe because it's in color. They all have that same general mid-60s vibe that you find in Rubber Soul, parts of Revolver, parts of Beatles For Sale. Probably the one song that stands out the most is You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, because it's just so singable. It's just one of the best ones to just sit and sing in a jam session or whatever. It's just a very singable song. And John Lennon's famous Hootenanny 12-string acoustic that he plays for that song in the movie just sold at auction for $2.9 million. Nutso. We're really getting into the area now of songs that I just absolutely love. They're just top tier Beatles songs. All I Gotta Do, and It Won't Be Long. A lot of you might recognize those as being the first 2 songs on the With the Beatles album, their second Parlophone record. It's a really good 1-2 punch to start that album off. They just flow together really well. It just hits you really hard with It Won't Be Long, yeah. And then of course you kind of pull it back a little bit with All I've Gotta Do. And both of them have that feel where they're just pop songs, but they seem to have just a really nice urgency, emotional feel to them. Really nice early Beatles songs. You Never Give Me Your Money, beautiful song by Paul on the Abbey Road album. Starts off really nice and slow with the cool piano, then it kind of kicks into gear. The part about this song that I really love is how he spends 2 verses talking about how there's nowhere to go. Like, we don't have any money, there's no place to go, nothing fun happening, nowhere to go. But oh, that magic feeling, nowhere to go. Oh, but now it's peaceful, nowhere to go. So lovely. Which to me kind of goes along with the whole, this was the last serious Beatles album they made. We're breaking up, nowhere to go, no more hustle and bustle of Beatles life. We can do our own thing now. Let It Be, obviously a very iconic Beatles song with the movie and everything. It's one of those songs that I just love to sit down and play at the piano, play and sing. Like when there's a piano there and there's people around and I'm gonna play a song for them, that's one of the ones that I always go to. I've Got a Feeling is one of those songs that has that nice relaxing vibe. It's not too slow, not too fast. You find that in different songs like, you know, Wind Cries Mary by Jimi Hendrix, or Getting in Tune by The Who, or even a little bit notch above that, It's Late by Queen. And it goes right along with the whole rooftop Let It Be concert. I can just see Paul singing that song and John with the wind just blowing in their hair. They just go hand in hand. Such a great song, just a really cool song with a nice riff at the beginning. The White Album is many things. It's many things to many people, and it's got all kinds of just really cool art pieces. And these two songs here are two of John's, just to me, just really artistic pieces from that album. I'm So Tired. It's kind of a simple song, but then at the same time, it's just really fun to sing. It feels like it's John kind of going back and forth about how, oh, I'm just kind of just doing whatever, just kind of being lazy. But, you know, really, I wish things were right between me and my girl. The part with the chorus, Paul comes in with the harmony, really strong. Love that. Happiness is a Warm Gun. If anybody ever tells you that music is not art, this is the song to play. Happiness is a Warm Gun. It's one of those songs that goes through several different styles, and it's like you just got to take it piece by piece. And it's just so cool the way John does everything. It's got the nonsense lyrics also that are trademarked by him. Kind of hard to explain, but you just have to hear it. But it's a wonderful song. Like the first two songs on this list, Anytime at All kind of has that similar vibe. It's just something about that song is you can really hear, you can really feel the emotion and the love coming out. And the piano really adds a really nice vibe. I assume that's George Martin playing the piano part in the middle. It's just a wonderful, beautiful love song. Next tier. You got the regular Beatles pop love songs, and then you got something like this. It has that feel that only the Beatles could do with just album cuts. You know, I mean, they did so many songs that were worthy of being #1 hits, and they were just album cuts. That's how good they were. Last two songs for this list, I have to put them together because to me, they're just two peas in the same pod. Long Tall Sally, I'm Down. Just super fast, 100 miles an hour, Little Richard inspired. Paul singing, Paul is belting it out, screaming fast, so much fun, 100% pure high energy, both of these songs. And Long Tall Sally obviously is the Little Richard cover, just Paul just churning it out, obviously just Uncle John. It's just so much fun to sing. And I'm Down. I feel like Paul probably wrote this to be like Long Tall Sally Part 2, just written by him instead. Also a great song. It feels a little bit more polished, maybe because it was about a year or two later after Long Tall Sally. And it's got the really cool organ by John. One of the pinnacles of the Beatles' time is the Shea Stadium concert where they're doing I'm Down. Because they're all just having so much fun. They're on top of the world, biggest concert ever. John is playing the keyboard with his elbow. It's just so much fun to watch. Michelle from the Rubber Soul album, written and sang by Paul. It's such a cool concept for a song because he likes this girl, or as he says, he loves this girl. But he can't even carry on a conversation with her because he speaks English, she speaks French. So you're just put in the middle of this scenario where he's trying to get to know her, but he can't speak any French. I feel like longing and wistful is a good way to describe the music of the song, which goes along with the words. A great marriage there of the words and the music. It's by no means a happy song. And then at the end of the song, and I will say the only words I know that you'll understand, my Michelle. It's just so cool. It's just one of the best songs Paul's ever written. And I go to him from the Beatles' first album. John just does so great in this song. He is talking to this girl and he loves her, but she wants to be with somebody else. So this is him saying to her, you know, I really want to be with you, but I'm not going to stand in your way. Go to him, this other guy over there. He is just pouring his heart out. All of my life, I've been searching for a girl. Just pouring it out. Sometimes background vocals in songs give me this feeling of
You know, hey, we're right there with you, brother. We're on your side. We're singing this song for you. It's like Paul and George saying, hey, we're there with you, John. We're gonna sing with you while you tell everybody this story, while you go through this problem. Day Tripper. This is one of the greatest guitar riffs ever written. Maybe even the greatest guitar riff ever written. It's just dong, 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 dong. It was done perfectly. Great melody and words to go with it and everything. It's just a great kicking, awesome mid-60s pop rock song. Getting Better from the Sgt. Pepper album. Great feel-good song. It's getting better all the time. Just very positive. I say positive. Some of the lyrics are not quite as positive as others, but overall, it's a great positive song. I Should Have Known Better. Every song from the Hard Day's Night movie and the Help movie is just gonna put you right there watching the movie, thinking about that scene in the movie. They're on the train, they're playing cards there with Paul's grandfather, and the girls are hanging around. And then all of a sudden, 30 seconds into the song, whoa, here we go, guitars and drums and harmonica out of nowhere. And it just turns into a happy, fun song time. And then, of course, by the end of the song, the cards come back out, fades out, keep on going into the movie. One thing I love about this song is with the one part, that when I tell you that I love you. John does that part, obviously. It's double-tracked, which was a common thing the Beatles did a lot. You sing it twice, and it sounds like it's two people singing, but it's just two of you. The second time they do that, they take the double track out, and it's just him, one voice. And it kind of makes it a little more personal there. Like, girl, I'm talking to you, that when I tell you that I love you, no fancy stuff, no studio tricks, no double tracking. I'm talking to you, girl, that when I tell you that I love you. Also, in that part of the movie, the camera's right on his face when he says it, and then it goes to one of the girls there, which is obviously Pattie Boyd, which would become George's wife and Eric Clapton's wife, and is the subject of the song Layla. I Am the Walrus. Where do you start? Someone tell me, where do I start? It's so cool. John with his crazy nonsensical lyrics. This is maybe his best time doing that. Just so much stuff just off the wall. And it's just fun to listen to. Anybody who might get tired of listening to just straight love songs, like I Should Have Known Better, like I just said, and you want something just different, just crazy, just wacky, just to throw out there, that's what this is. I'm the Walrus. Just these lyrics, man. Just Semolina Pilcher climbing up the Eiffel Tower, yellow mat of custard, dripping from a dead dog's eye, sitting on a cornflake waiting for the van to come. You know, it's just imagery. It's just so much fun. Just the imagination to me. I'm almost laughing because the song is it's just a trip, man. It's just a trip. Blackbird, sang by Paul on the White Album. Beautiful song. Very simple arrangement. Just him with the guitar, a few other things. I think the tapping of the foot, and some birds chirping a little later on. It's just a fun song to learn on the guitar, to play on the guitar. I actually played this song for my audition when I started to college for my music degree. I do hybrid picking on it. It sounds almost like Paul's strumming on it a little bit. I never could figure that out. I just always do like the picking, the hybrid picking. That's guitar talk. Norwegian Wood, This Bird Has Flown. Another great song to just sit around and play and sing. It has that great riff which matches the vocal line perfectly. Ding, 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 da, 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 da. Great little melody there. And the sitar comes in obviously later on because George was getting into it at that time. It's just John telling a story. You follow the story, you listen to it, you sing the fun melody. Just a great example of a wonderful acoustic pop song. She's Leaving Home. This is a beautifully sad song, just an absolutely gorgeous song with the arrangements, but also extremely sad at the same time. The girl runs away from home. Apparently she's in her late teens. The song does say love is the one thing that money can't buy. So it could be about how the parents are trying to give her everything with money and not spending enough time with her. But it's obviously a very sad song, but it's so poignant. Just the emotion when the parents find out that she's gone. It's crazy. Beautifully sad for sure. Tax Man, one of my favorite George songs, starts off the Revolver album. Just a kicking song. That 7-chord with Paul's bass, just kicking it. Just excellent, awesome song. Just everything comes together perfectly in this song. It's got a little rebellious message in it. I don't want to pay you any of my taxes. This is my money. Who doesn't love Twist and Shout, right? It's just a classic Beatles song. One of their best covers for sure. I may have said before how John was sick when they recorded the first album.
and they had to do the whole thing in 24 hours. They recorded Twist and Shout last, so his voice must have been the most frazzled out of all the other songs, and you can hear it. It's not the classic John screaming. It just sounds like his voice is in tatters, but it really adds to it. It's so good, so cool, so excellent. Here Comes the Sun. It might hold up the best out of any Beatles song in 2024. It's so singable. It could have been released yesterday. I actually did this with my 4th grade this past year for Honors Day. It's a great song, great message, very fun to sing. She Loves You. Obviously, I've saved a lot of the just early Beatles classics for the top of the list. She Loves You, iconic for the whole yeah, yeah, yeah thing. Just one of their early perfectly written songs, one of the songs that really catapulted them into huge success with Beatlemania, Mop Tops, and all that kind of stuff. And I really like the perspective of the song. It's not just boy-girl, but it's someone, a third party, talking to the boy, telling that boy that the girl loves him. She loves you. So it's a very cool perspective in that regard. And you end the song with that 6th chorus, she loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. So cool. I Feel Fine. If you had asked me when I was like 12, 13, what my favorite Beatles song was, I would have said I Feel Fine. And I think I said that mainly because it was like the perfect Beatles song. Everything is done perfectly here. The beginning is a little different with the whole feedback thing. Excellent riff. Dun, 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 dun. You get the great lyrics, John singing, background vocals. You get the really cool, just Memphis type guitar solo in the middle. It's just a perfectly written song. Obviously, it's not my number 1 now, but it's obviously very high on my list. Excellent song. I Saw Her Standing There, one of my favorite early Beatles songs. It's just one of those songs you're like, man, it's just classic. The first time you hear it, like when they were recording this, I mean, they had to know this was gonna be just an excellent song. Just perfectly done. We Can Work It Out, just an excellent pop song. Everything is done perfectly, it's catchy. You will notice there is the Paul and the John elements of this song. Paul seems to be a little bit happier, and John seems to be a little bit more on the possibly pessimistic or artistic side when you compare the Try to See It My Way with the Life is Very Short. They both wrote those different sections themselves, and you can definitely hear it. I'm Looking Through You, way up at number 13. It's just one of those deals where there's certain songs they did that were just another song, but they were so good. And that's what this is. I just love the guitar and the melody, just everything about this song. Just a great example of how the Beatles put so much effort into almost every song they ever recorded. Yesterday, just so classic. Just he's pouring his heart out. He longs for yesterday because yesterday, everything was great. They were in love. Everything was perfect. But why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. Just strings in there. It's kind of in that same category as She's Leaving Home. Paul sings it, you got the strings, beautifully said. When I'm 64, as you can tell, I love beautifully crafted songs. This is a beautifully crafted song. Obviously, it's that old style, like 1920s type vibe Paul did with a few songs. And everything is just put together so perfectly in this song with the lyrics. It's a great example of how a song doesn't have to be a typical pop type song to be an excellent song. And I think he actually wrote this when he was like 14, writing what he thought life would be like when he was 64. Obviously, it was not like this for him as he was still touring the world as a legendary billionaire. Paperback Writer, such a kickin' song. Just the guitar and the lyrics. It's one of those songs where when I heard it, I was like, man, I've got to learn all the words to this. It's just, you just want to learn all the words so you can sing it. The topic of the song is kind of mundane. It's about a person who writes books, but the way Paul presents it, it's so great. Just everything from the bass to the guitar to the vocals, everything is done so well. Just a great kickin' rockin' song. All right, we're down to the top 9. Number 9, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Obviously, this was like the biggest hit for them in the early days. That and She Loves You was just like massive monster hits. And just everybody knew it, everybody loved it. And musically, it's a great song. It's got all the elements you need. It's got lots of power. It's got the harmony vocals. It's got the nice, innocent love message, I want to hold your hand. Pretty magical in a way, to be honest. Can't Buy Me Love from the Hard Day's Night soundtrack. Just an excellent, great, rousing, fun, fast song. Paul sings it. Cool sentiment there. Money can't buy me love. You get all the money in the world, but it's not going to buy you love. Kind of the opposite of the song Money, which John sang. And this is from the scene in Hard Day's Night where they're just running around, going crazy, having fun all over that field, and this song is playing. One of my favorite guitar solos there. Really good constructed guitar solo by George. Just an excellent early Beatles song. In My Life, obviously a beautiful song. It's just one of those songs that's just top tier. You can't get any more beautiful and top tier than In My Life. Just a song by John about nostalgia and reminiscing. Brilliant piano solo in the middle, played by George Martin. Just a beautiful song. You look up beautiful in the dictionary, you find In My Life. Eleanor Rigby, just a masterpiece of a song. So good. You have Eleanor Rigby, who has no friends, nobody knows who she is. Maybe more than any other song they wrote. To me, this is the one that calls you to action the most, because you're like, wow, how many people do I know that are lonely? Maybe I should make friends with those people. A couple of great metaphors in this song. Wearing a face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Nobody keeps an actual face in an actual jar, but obviously it's symbolic of her acting happy when she goes out and being sad when she comes back home. Also, she died and she was buried along with her name. I love that because when she's gone, no one is gonna have any memory of her, which is really sad. So a couple of really good metaphors there. Also, the strings in this song, all it is singing and strings. I feel like anytime I'm looking for something cool that's classical with strings, string quartets, whatever, I feel like subconsciously I'm looking for stuff that sounds like Eleanor Rigby, and it's really hard to find stuff that sounds that nice. It's minor key, and it sounds very almost evil, sad, menacing. Lots of staccato type stuff happening, just very, very deliberate. Just and the just all kinds of wonderful stuff there. Definitely one of my favorite recordings ever of bowed string instruments. I'm not the kind of person who is going to always save the song of a lifetime type songs for the top 10 on a list. That's a term that my dad always used, song of a lifetime, which is basically like every song Celine Dion ever sang. No, doggone it, I'm gonna put She's a Woman as my number 5 Beatles song. It's just so great to just rock out to and jam out to. I love what John does on this song. Every chord he hits is a 7 chord and just bap, 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 bap on the 2 and the 4. So good. And Paul just giving those soulful vocals that he was so good at. Everything just melds together so well in this song. And the live version was always good because they would do the at the end of the song, which was different than the studio, but really cool live. Strawberry Fields Forever. This may actually be the most important Beatles song when you look at it, especially in the second half of their career. This song may have ushered in psychedelia and just being artistic in music, probably more than any other song. When you look at lyrically and musically and studio effects, everything going into here, this is uncharted territory for them or for anybody else at that time. Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see, all that kind of stuff. And I get my own meaning out of some of this stuff. The music, it's got the orchestral stuff. It has the, whatever that keyboard instrument is at the beginning of it. So cool. It's got all the crazy stuff at the ending. It has the fake ending also, where it fades out and then fades back in. They broke so much ground with this. They did other things like this throughout the next 2 or 3 years, but this was the first time where they just really, really thought outside the box with stuff. Also, you'll notice that John's voice is slowed down just a little bit for most, if not all, the song, which gives it that almost otherworldly, like almost creepy sound to it. Just a masterpiece of a song. Number 3, Obla Di Obla Da, my top Paul song. This is the perfect pop song. It's got nonsensical lyrics as the name of the song. Obla Di Obla Da means nothing. It's just fun to sing, fun to say. The story, a man and a woman who get together, they love each other, and they have a family, and everything's wonderful. The hooks in this song, the melodies, the hooks, the lyrics, the beat, the piano that you hear, Everything is done perfectly with emotion and catchiness and hooks, and it's just a great, perfect pop song. If you don't like this song, you need to check your pulse because it's probably at 0. Number 2, Nowhere Man. Such a great, wonderful song. Just starts out a cappella with the hook. The background vocals are so good throughout the song. He's telling you about this Nowhere Man. He's talking to Nowhere Man, and the melody and the words and the chords all go together to make it very, very emotional. Nowhere Man, the world is at your command. What are you doing? You can just take the world by the horns if you would just stop being a nowhere man. The guitar is so good, the licks, but also that wonderful solo, which is John and George playing together on Strats. Just a great constructed solo with a nice little high harmonic at the end of it, and capping it off with Paul's high harmony at the end, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Wonderful song. My number 1 Beatles song is Dear Prudence. Such a wonderful work of art. Everything just builds. There's so many parts to it. Start soft, louder and louder and louder, more and more and more, big mountain, and right at the end you taper off. So the whole big song is one big journey. You start off with the acoustic guitar fingerstyle with John, then you add in some bass and drums, then you add in the guitar. Later on, there's more stuff happening. It gets really, really big. Similar to Nowhere Man, he's talking to someone, trying to get them to come out of their shell and experience the world. Everything fits together. I love Paul's bass line. That's wonderful. George has a couple of really good guitar parts. In the middle of the song, he got there. And that right there, that's a very short augmented chord with that and the bass, which is really cool. And then later on at the end, so cool, that part at the end. Everything builds. It's a masterpiece. It's my favorite Beatles song because it's just put together so well and it's just glorious. I hope you enjoyed my ranking of all Beatles songs. Let me know in the comments what you think, which ones are too high, which ones are too low, how you would have changed it. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. Have a good day. Go Beatles. Rock on.